Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the BFF podcast, brought to you by RMK Productions. I am one half of the BFF co-host, Crystal.
And I'm Kaisha.
And on today's episode, we are super excited to have a very special guest with us, Chelsea Schwartz. Welcome, Chelsea.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome to our couch.
So, Crystal, who do we have this week? What are we finding out from Chelsea?
Okay, so Chelsea is going to be talking to us about her amazing career, her life as a transformational trauma hypnosis coach, and how she does that to help individuals become the best versions of themselves.
Ooh, I'm excited. All right, Chelsea.
And I love the hair, by the way.
I do too. I love
got
it.
it done just for you guys. I was like, purple.
Yes. So Chelsea, do you want to start just by kind of letting the folks know who you are, a little bit about your background, and then we can get into some good questions?
Yeah. So I graduated anesthesia school in 2019. Was a registered nurse before that for a long time. And just going through navigating like being a new anesthesia provider, and then some of the trauma from being on the front line caring for patients led me to hypnosis to try to like fix my own, just everything from all the way from like that whole situation to like back into childhood. And it was so amazing and so helpful that it led me to get certified in hypnosis and coaching. And so, because I really just was like, oh my God, this could help so many people. I need to have this as a tool in my box to help not only other clients, but patients as well. Because, I'm sure you see patients and they come in and they're so anxious, and our system really doesn't provide a lot of help for people.
No, it doesn't. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So, okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say, just to give a backlog. So Chelsea and I are both certified registered nurse anesthetists, which means we put people to sleep for surgery, but we always wake them up. I like to add that part. All right. So Kaisha, what were you going to ask?
Okay, Chelsea, I have to ask, because anytime anyone says hypnosis, there's a lot of like, that doesn't work. Okay. So It's a bunch of hokey stuff. So you actually started out as getting hypnosis first, right?
Yes.
You were receiving it. Did you have any apprehensions going into that in the beginning?
So I had tried everything, right? I had done CBT, traditional therapy. I had done EMDR, just everything.
Can you break those down for us for the listeners who may not know what those are?
Right. Okay. So CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy, because I couldn't figure out like, why am I in this role, quote unquote, successful professional, and I'm still depressed and feeling icky and not good, and kind of like still just not at a place where I wanted to be. So what does EMDR stand for?
Rapid.
Yes, desensitization.
Yeah. Eye movement or something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
and understand that for those, unless you're going to explain it, there's a light that your eyes are to follow with EMDR.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The person that did it with me was using a pulsed, like, so I would go through the story of whatever the traumatic event was.
Mm-hmm.
And then she would use a buzzer, and it would like speed up and slow down in order to like rewire my brain but I just felt like it didn't. Like I did so many sessions and it was still like these things were bothering me.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of after like going through all that, I was like led to hypnosis. In addition to, so I had a lot of like test anxiety passing my boards. And what really helped me was like, there's another CRNA hypnotist. His name is Matthew Zinder. And so I worked with him and I did like nightly hypnosis, audios. And so, yeah, I guess maybe the reservations weren't really, it was always like, well, I've tried everything. What else could it hurt to try
Gotcha.
something more?
Mm-hmm.
I did pass my boards, obviously, because yay. So I had proof that like hypnosis can work for at least for anxiety. And then when I went in and was like, all right, I want to deal with some of this trauma. Let's see if it can help with that too. I like it because it's like, it helps in the fastest way possible that I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
And that's what I see for clients too, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Did
you, when going through for your own trauma, did you find that things were brought up or brought out that you didn't even know about?
Yeah, I did. Things that seemed so benign that you would be like, seriously? Because so they talk about how like from 0 to 7, you're a walking subconscious, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're easily imprintable. And so the misinterpretation of the child, basically what part of my training, what we do is we go and reinform the child. And so when I was going through these sessions, like there's things that I look back and I'm like, what? I really interpreted that situation like that. And that has led to all this behavior that's unwanted.
Wow. Okay.
Crazy. It was so enlightening. And then to reinform that feeling and those beliefs of like, oh, well, you don't have to feel like that anymore. And especially because when hypnosis is not like, I can't make you do anything you don't want to do. The people I work with, you literally, you have to want it, and you have to be within your value system. So like, if you don't want to do something, I can't hypnotize you into like
doing it
that way. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. So I just had a lot of trust in the hypnotist that I worked with, who also used to be a CRNA. Funny enough, like the one-on-ones, yeah, she was amazing. And she really like inspired me to take this path because it helped me so much. And it really, like I tell clients, don't go digging for something that might not be there. But if things come up in the session that, we'll go into it. But like a lot of people want to be like, well, I think this thing happened, but I'm not sure. So I tell them like, no, we're not going to go looking for something, but if something comes up, we'll handle it.
Yeah, I like to tell my clients, from what I learned, is that the subconscious will show you what you're ready for. Exactly. So yeah, if you're like, oh, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to find Freddy Krueger, and it's like, hold on. Like, time out.
And why would you want that? Why would you want, like, do you really want to go looking for this?
Right.
Do you want to re-traumatize yourself?
Right. So I have to ask you, what is the difference between hypnosis and meditation?
So that's a really great question. I like to think of, because I now use hypnosis daily, if not a couple times a day. So like before I go to bed, because you're super suggestible at night. And then when you wake up, sometimes with anesthesia, it's a rush and too early, but like mostly every night before bed. So the difference between meditation and hypnosis is, I like to think that hypnosis is a focused form of meditation. Like it's very, I'm focused on what I want to get out of it. So meditation, where you're kind of just like watching the thoughts and letting them go. Meditation is or hypnosis is very targeted.
Mhm.
It's like
Intentional.
yes, thank you. That's exactly the word that I was looking for.
So that makes sense, because for those people listening, and they might say, well, when you meditate, you're very focused and you're supposed to be like focused on one thing. That's not necessarily true. Yeah, meditation, it doesn't have to be completely silent. You don't have to like clear your head. You don't have to like do all this clearing and muting of things in order to then focus a thought, and I think a lot of people kind of have that misconception. I mean, you can be meditating driving down the road.
Right.
I know I am in bad traffic. I'm meditating so I don't get road rage. I mean, like, you can be doing something and still in your own thoughts. And, meditating, you don't have to have complete silence. So for everyone listening, that's kind of sometimes the misconception, and understand, because I mean, we can go throughout the day meditating, for different reasons. It's kind of like saying the serenity prayer, like just granting the serenity, bringing peace, so I don't kill somebody. So, maybe that's not a good idea in your all's profession, but, maybe a different kind of prayer going in your profession.
No, we use the serenity prayer too, trust us.
Sure. So, whereas hypnosis, you're saying, is a lot more focused, and I could understand that, given, and kind of very specific. So that makes sense.
Yes.
And it's good. I felt like I love meditation. It was just difficult for me, I think, because I was always like, am I doing this right? Am I okay? It always felt like, what am I doing? And although I do have clients who I'll teach them self-hypnosis and they're like, am I doing this right? And so we kind of go through it. But yeah, meditation, I like having a target or, a purpose, right? Hypnosis is meditation with a purpose, I think.
I like that. Yeah. I when I first started meditating a few years back, I kept falling asleep and I'd wake up and I'd be like, well, that didn't work. The only the only type of meditation that truly works for me and my brain rewiring are guided meditations, specific guided meditations. So I almost wonder if the types of guided meditations that I do and teach are a form of hypnosis.
I would almost bet that they are. Yeah. Which is great, because you're so suggestible. Like when you're in trance, it really helps to imprint and rewire your thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you're in the car, not getting the road rage, or, going about our daily life, like not letting people or situations affect us as much as they would have before you have these techniques. So
Makes sense. So, during hypnosis, kind of walk us through the process. Like, what's happening? Are you talking? Do you have music on? Like, set the stage for us.
So there's so many different kinds.
How do you do it?
How do I do it? So I was trained in Cal Banyan's style of 5-path hypnosis, which uses a lot of parts work. It uses regression, and then forgiveness to go in and clear out all those things we've accumulated since we were young. So situations where, like I was saying earlier, you may have misinterpreted, or maybe there really was a lot of trauma and neglect, and then you just help that child realize, okay, they're okay, they survive, everything is good. I've gone on to study Ericksonian style hypnosis, where it's much more like you and I, we're all talking right now, and I can watch for cues to see when you're going into trance. And then what that does is bring out the subconscious resources to help you reframe and rewire and come up with ways to, we basically, what I call is like untying the knots to help you move through these situations a lot easier. And it's incredible. Like, so Erickson would, just by talking to people, be able to help them like basically 60% of the way, and then he'd get them in the chair and like 40% and be just done. Like everything for them, they'd be like, I don't know what happened, but I feel amazing, and I'm not smoking anymore, or I'm not doing this anymore, or whatever their issue was. So
Yeah, I think back in Massachusetts, there's a woman who helps people lose weight, and you can't even get in with her. I mean, her wait list is ridiculous. And if you get on the wait list, they basically call you and tell you, you know, your date is such and such. Like they don't get on the calendar and say, well, can you come in on this date? No, there's like, you either can come in on Wednesday, February 27th or not. And so, I mean, I've heard, I never got in with her, but I've heard that she would just walk up and down the room talking, and her hair would kind of be swaying, but nobody felt like she was up there saying, okay, 1, 2, 3, and you know, like cluck like a chicken or anything funky like that. She was literally just talking to them. And she didn't really allow bathroom breaks, from what I was told. She kind of wanted you to go beforehand because she didn't want you to disrupt. And I know a couple people who went to her and they were like, she just talked to us, but I've lost 30 pounds. I'm like, what did she say?
Look her up.
yeah. And that's, it's so powerful, and that's why I love it. Yeah. I actually experienced the same. I had gained like 20 pounds with doing the COVID unit work, and I had a really hard time losing it. And when I started my sessions in March, like I ended up losing around 18, 19 pounds. So
wow.
And that wasn't even why I went to see her.
Well, it was, you just didn't know it.
Yeah.
See, and I'm upset at my friend right now. I've been trying to lose weight and you didn't tell me about this lady.
I thought you knew about her.
No, girl, I would have signed up a long time ago.
Oh, well, yeah, she
you can do sessions with me.
Listen, well, Chelsea, speaking of that, listen, I'm already convinced, okay, that I need to contact you. And so this is the other thing. Now we're in a pandemic still, right? And so do you do your services virtually?
Yes, I do everything over Zoom.
Everything's over Zoom. Okay. And do you find that, I mean, it's still effective?
Oh,
versus in person? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if you guys saw my latest client testimonial, but our sessions have been on Zoom, and she's like basically she was newly diagnosed diabetic, does not want medication, is like, okay, I can do this. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, I just need some help doing it. So we reinforce those healthy behaviors, and she's already lost like 16 pounds or something. And now her sugar is like, she tracks them. They're way tighter. So.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
1 session, 2 sessions. I don't know. It's pretty good.
How many sessions do you find that clients usually need? Like, let's say it's somebody who is trying to stop smoking. Can you do that in 1 session? Like, how long are your sessions? And how many do you recommend?
So that's the interesting thing, is for myself, I've found that like I like the framework of having at least 6 weeks of ongoing support, because I was dealing with insomnia, anxiety, all these things that I was like, I don't want to bring this into my work or daily life. If it's smoking, you know, I know people are pretty effective at like 1 or 2 sessions. I don't work with smokers a lot. I don't have a thing against it. I would totally do it. I just feel like the people that come to me are people that want to figure out, like, they'll have either a relationship, things that I'd say from the root are like, just, it can be trauma, it can be anxiety.
Emotional.
Emotional. Yeah.
Emotional.
It's very emotional.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
sounds about right. So pretty much depending on what it is, some things may take more sessions than others, pretty much. Yeah.
And I like to offer the fastest possible, right? Because I don't want to keep people, I'm not a therapist. I will be the first to say I can't technically treat anything that's in the DSM. Now I can help you with these off things that are like the byproduct of whatever, but I don't want to keep you. I want you to work with me, and then I'll teach you self-hypnosis and all these things. And, you know, I want you to get what you want. I want people to get exactly what they want. So.
Awesome. So how quickly, like, so we get on a Zoom, right? For you to work with me, right? And then you start talking. Is it like within the first 5 minutes, all of a sudden, you know, like how does that work?
What are you thinking? You're going to fall asleep or something?
Well, I don't know. Maybe she has us hypnotized now. I'm just trying to.
She might be that good.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've had people in as quick as 45 minutes have breakthroughs. It just really depends on the person. Some people take a few hours for their first session. I like to respect people's time, but I also am like, I'm not going to let you quit until you feel like that thing is done. So I tell people, like, just set aside a couple hours, but if it's faster than that, great, we'll be done. I wish it was like where, you know, and the coaching sessions, I can say, okay, you know, you have 60 or 90 minutes, let's get together, we're going to work on this, this, and this. But hypnosis is kind of a lot more fluid for me. It's like, I like to test and make sure that these things are unbreakable before I let people go. Yeah. And if there's any sort of like resistance or leftover things that I can't get to within the time allotted, then I'm like, okay, this will be easy to solve like the next time very fast.
So everyone really is different, and you don't know until you really meet with them and talk to them.
Yeah. Especially, so like y'all have probably done a ton of self-work, right? Which that would be a lot faster for me, way faster than somebody who isn't doing the work and has no idea. They've never been coached before. They've never done any type of self-development. They've never looked at their emotions or been able to feel them. That's going to be what feels like.
Yeah, you're like trying to like crack the barrier just to get underneath. Yeah.
So with that said, would you suggest that people, because like you said, you're not a therapist in any way, would you suggest people to like maybe seek some sort of therapy first to kind of open up before coming to you? Or do you think it doesn't matter?
I think people should do what they feel called to do. And a lot of what I can can say is that when I do work with people, I help them to listen to their instincts and because people, I see a lot of where we don't do that anymore. We don't listen to that voice and that gut feeling. And so if people feel called to do that, I say yes, that's great. If you need ongoing support, yes, definitely. For me, just my personal experience, I could see benefits for sure, but it didn't exactly solve what I wanted it to solve.
Yeah.
And I like that hypnosis is faster in that way. But I don't see why it couldn't hurt to have ongoing support for sure.
Yeah. And how long I know you said you're trained in a few different types of hypnosis. So are those like over the course of a weekend, you kind of learn how to do this, or amount of weeks? How do you learn?
So the first training took a couple months.
Okay.
It was like 8-hour evening sessions. So it was like full long 8-hour. We would learn, we would practice with each other. And then the second was multiple weekends in a row of like 8-hour days and ongoing, where we really get to practice with each other on I've had sessions working on anything from like people were scared to be on video for their businesses to like the weight loss. Have I done a smoking ad? No, I have not. Just a lot of things around business. So people that have like money blocks or what they think are money blocks. And that has been really fun just to see how they get through it on the other side, and they're like, oh my God. And it's awesome.
Yeah, when they realized it was something that their mother said when they were 3 years old and they wanted McDonald's, and mom was like, I don't have money for McDonald's. And so now they think I'm poor. It's once you start doing the work, you're like, what the heck? Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like, how could this one little thing affect the way that I've behaved my entire adult life?
Yeah.
So Chelsea, do you have, because being in a helping field, and not even in a helping field, but in anything, even as an entrepreneur, a CEO, we all have coaches or mentors or continue, our own personal work with someone else. So do you have someone? Do you continue that? Do you see a need for that?
I do. So my coach, so my hypnosis mentor, I have two of them, Penny Chiasen and Scott Jansen. They've really helped me with not only like personal, but business. And then Jim Fortin, I started listening to his podcasts back before I'd ever had any coaching, and joined his coaching group called it's TCP is for short, Transformational Coaching Program. So, but he has a really interesting style of coaching. It's very like, occasionally it can feel very harsh, because they ask questions that you're like, you can get very triggered. But then, right, you look at it and be like, well, wait, why am I triggered here?
Yeah.
So it's been really good. I love the community aspect. I don't know who are y'all like working with, or what coaches have you?
Yeah, so I have a business coach right now, Charisse. She's amazing. She's helping me kind of set up the structure of how to create an online coaching program so that I can pass my knowledge on to so many more. And then my transformational life coach, her name is Caroline. She's actually a retired CRNA now. She's like full on coaching. And she really helped me with a lot of my childhood and shadow work and my money blocks, because you and I know, as high income earners, people hear CRNA and they're like, oh, you're all set. But right. But there's still money blocks there. So she really helped me with that. And, honestly, Kaisha may not think of herself as my coach, but when it comes to things business wise and branding and just even life stuff, like I will say her and I started our transformational self-discovery journey long before any of this other work that I've personally done with my coaches. So yeah.
Oh, thank you, friend.
BFF.
For me, so my background is, y'all are medical. My background is therapy. So I myself have gone and seen several therapists. I always tell people too, it's okay for a tune-up every now and again.
Yes.
So if I need a tune-up, I'll go do that. Crystal my friend has served as my coach with some things too. And then I have other people normally that I can call on, like business wise, or I've never really had per se a coach. And Crystal and I have this conversation often, especially when she was getting into coaching, that therapy and coaching is a very thin line between each other, right? So I've experienced working with a coach early on, when I was first transitioning from when I decided to go into business for myself. And so I was transitioning from being a single mother, working a 9-to-5, into wanting to work for myself. And was the experience great? It was helpful, but it still kind of reiterated some things that I'm like, very thin line there, so I kind of hesitate when I actually want to go see a coach. There are some that I follow that do coaching, especially business, and I'm interested in, probably working with them. But for myself, it's kind of that mental thing that I have to be very specific to, like what I want, what my purpose is, and then seek that person out. Because a lot of times it's really, I just have like one question, right? Like one question I need some advice on, all right? I need one question. So, where it's not like, I don't need to sit with you for like 8 weeks. I want to sit with you for 8 weeks, So, because I think, again, it's a mental thing. It's like, going into why why you feel like this or why you do this. And it goes into like my own personal stuff. And so it's just my own personal, I don't want to even say struggle, but I teeter that line a lot of times. But I try to surround myself. My grandfather always said, surround yourself with people smarter than you, that know more than you. And so I definitely do that and, seek them out when I need them.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So Chelsea, is there anything that we didn't touch upon, during this talk that you still wanted to mention about your services, or how people can reach you, or anything else that you may offer?
Yeah. So I guess, I'm starting a TikTok, right?
Oh God.
Educate people.
I need a coach for TikTok.
I know, right? We all need a coach for that. So one of my friends that I work with brought up the fact that I guess there's a new show on Netflix called it's some hypnotist that is like evil. And I was like, oh, great. So now I have to combat that, you know, kind of fear in clients or patients being like, hey, are you sure you're not going to make me do things that I was like, no, I can't.
I think I watched that. It was
Did you?
it was a movie. It was
Yes.
a movie. Yeah, the doctor was in
Yes.
weird thoughts in the lady's head, and then girl.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
To everyone listening, that's not anything that I could do. But
Chelsea, I just have this random question. What state are you in? Because you are outside, and I know you cannot be anywhere near me.
Or me, because it's cold where I'm at.
It's cold.
Right now, I'm in Arizona.
That explains it.
Wow.
Yes. Okay. All right. Because it is cold, and we would not be outside. That is beautiful. That is actually a place I want to go to in Arizona.
Come visit me.
I will. I've never been to Arizona, and it's on my bucket list of places to go.
Yeah, I want to go to Sedona.
Yes.
Yeah, Sedona's amazing. So I'm about 2.5 hours from there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in North Carolina, so not road trip, girl.
No, not road trip. No, flying trip, but still, trip. We gotta plan it.
Yes.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Chelsea, thank you so much for being on our couch this week. We've learned so much. You have convinced me that's my next step. I need to see, maybe you were. Maybe you were. Oh,
I told you.
Girl, you work. Okay.
She's good. She's good.
Because I am convinced. I have had thoughts being a trauma counselor myself, and kind of knowing the different options for, help and assistance. I had come to that conclusion that, well, maybe that might be something I want to do, but hadn't found anybody or, seen any good reviews for people. And so, yes, this episode has definitely convinced me to do some things. Okay. So I love it. I love it.
Yes. How can people find you, Chelsea? Drop your
what's your social media? How can people contact you?
So they can find me on Instagram, Transform with Chelsea. They can also find me on Facebook. I want to say I'm like Chelsea.Schwartz.18. And then I just fast and dirty put up a website last night with a lot of help.
It looks so good though. You just did that last night?
Yeah. So my friend basically did most of it. That's my week. Oh, I am not techie. She literally, I think she had to do hypnosis on me. I was like, what in the what?
I'm still thrilled how she described it as fast and dirty. I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
You and me can be friends.
I literally try to do everything. It's like, how fast can I get this done? All right, cool.
I love it.
So it's transformwithchelsea.com.
Awesome. And we will make sure that's in our show notes as well. So all of our listeners can reach out to you to book some, because New Year's is coming and everybody's going to have the New Year's resolution of, I want to do XYZ. So we about to have Chelsea's inbox full with New Year's resolutions clients. So thank you, Chelsea.
And I think what I'll do is, if you guys go to my website and leave your emails, I'm going to work on like either a free hypnosis audio download or maybe a combination, like just help to get through those holidays, the difficult things. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's
Thank
great.
you. Leave a note that you heard that right here on BFF.
Yes. All right. So BFF, would you like to sign us off?
I sure will. Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you for your presence today. We will definitely probably have you back, talk about how things are going. And even more business oriented. We love supporting women in business. Absolutely. And hope to see you soon. So to our listeners out there, thanks. This has been another episode of Black, Fabulous, and 40. I am your host, Kaisha.
And I'm Crystal.
Until next time.